Exploring the MusEcology platform as a musician or instrument maker, their first attention goes to the orchestra view, representing a kind of familiarity. As a violin maker, my interest and automatic focus are the string instruments. Therefore, I start my exploration with the strings. Having zoomed in the string instrument group, I find out that 248 species are potentially used for making string instruments, not including the bow. And below that, I become interested as I notice that just for bows alone, 210 different species are potentially used. Bows are an essential part of every string instrument and since 1800 are made by specialized bow makers. The legend allows contextualizing the visualized four views, such as the purple frame and the thick font of the letters indicate the selected trade-related threat is depicted. I easily can see that more than 1/4 of the potentially used species are to a certain degree trade-regulated and face a trade-related threat. This draws my attention to find out whether it is a similar picture for the ecological threat. To find out, I switch the display from the trade-related threat to the ecological threat. Having switched to the ecological threat, I can see that until today most species are assessed and few species lack an assessment, depicted in gray. However, about 1/3 of the species are threatened by extinction. In the diversity and threat map, I can see an extraordinarily high number of species occur in Madagascar, as it is colored in the darkest blue. More than half of them is threatened by extinction. However, my first attention continues to be on the string instrument bow, which leads me to further exploration. To my surprise, when looking to the material view, there are potentially 40 different materials from animal species that are or have been used for string instrument bows. This creates curiosity for further exploration. But knowing that the central part of every string instrument bow is the bow stick, I feel triggered to explore the potential material variety and their threat used for the sticks of string instrument bows. Diving into the material variety used for bow sticks is very interesting, as this selection impressively shows a cluster of materials originating from Brazil. The selected 17 species are now selected in all views, also in the timeline view. Scrolling down with the timeline allows further exploration to get an overview for each potentially used species. Within these 17 species, it is eye-catching that Paubrasilia echinata is the only species that is up-to-date trade-regulated by CITES, and according to the IUCN Red List and recorded assessments by the Botanical Gardens Conservation International, threatened by extinction. As a violin maker, I know that at the same time Paubrasilia echinata is the main material used for high-quality string instrument bows. This is calling to find out more details about the species by selecting it in the timeline view. Selecting the species reaches the hierarchically most detailed zoom level in the timeline view as well as in the material view, giving a big-sized impression in the material view about the material appearance. Being curious about more details of the distribution of Paubrasilia echinata, I feel tempted to find out in which Brazilian ecoregions the species occurs. Wondering how widely distributed Paubrasilia echinata is, the selection of the map on ecoregion level allows me to directly see that the species that does not occur all over Brazil. Rather, noticing the species only occurs in the eastern part of Brazil. The option to choose the species distribution on a hexagon level further limits the distribution of Paubrasilia echinata to the eastern coast of Brazil. Geographers and environmental scientists can easily identify that this is the area of the Atlantic forest biome, which represents one of the global biodiversity hotspots. The timeline view gives an idea when the species was assessed and categorizations of its threat level were published. In 1997, the Botanical Gardens Conservation International Threat Search captured the first assessment where Paubrasilia was listed as endangered. This categorization got confirmed in 2012.